Hello, beautiful souls. Welcome back. This is Brandy from Venus and Retro Tarot, and I just want to do a month ahead video for the month of June. Rather than doing a weekly video this week, I'll be posting one of those next Sunday. But I just want to say thank you for all your comments, your likes, your shares. It really helps these messages get to the people who need to hear them the most. So I appreciate that. I hope you'll do that again this week. I love hearing from you. So welcome. And with that in mind, what I would first like to say is I want to offer my condolences to the Floyd family for, the murder of George Floyd, which was just so awful and unjust, and I can't imagine what his loved ones are going through right now. And, thank you to all the people who are taking to the streets, who are really answering the call to donate their time, donate their money, to show up and do the work. And part of that is why I want to make this video. Like, I don't want to go too much into what's happening. We all know, and, you can find activists that know way more than me to speak to that, but I want to keep the focus on tarot and empowerment and the ways that we can use our platforms, our skills, our abilities, our talents to do something to affect change. So for the month of June, this is a massive invitation for the collective. The beacon card for this entire month is justice. Okay, 6 + 1 + 2 + 2 is 11, and it's really, something that we have to answer this call. I'm gonna talk about, from my own knowing, how I see this invitation as being justice. Okay, justice is an 11 card, so that's double 1 energy. That's double the magician energy. That is channeling from our highest truth. That is, really using our voices, really putting our thoughts and our words into action. It's also a 2 card because 1 + 1 = 2. So that's the high priestess. That's really listening, tuning in. It's, using our knowing. Also, the knowing, the collective knowing, what is it that we need to do? Who are we listening to? And are we listening to the call within ourselves to do something? It's another 2 card is judgment. So judgment is awakening, and there's a lot of that happening right now. We're all awakening to the horrors of, how unjust the system is. Justice, if you didn't already know before, it is on full display this year. It's on steroids, and honestly, the time to be silent is over. The time to just look away is over. Like, the world won't support that anymore. The society can't sustain it. There's no way to do that anymore. We really have to have action, and in any way that you can be an activist. Like, this is the invitation from spirit, from the universe, from your guides, from my guides. Like, we all have a part to play in what comes next. If we really want this to be a more just, more equal society. And also, justice, to me, how I read it, it's all 4 of the Swords court cards. It's the Page of Swords. It's the Knight of Swords, action. It's the Queen of Swords, like really dropping into those emotions. It's the King. It's showing up as a full embodiment of truth, justice. Like, what are we going to do? And as with any major arcana card, and I take this from Lindsay Mack, the Fool is present. So, seeing things with a fresh perspective. What are things that, you didn't notice before that, you're seeing through the eyes of a newborn? How can we do things differently? So that is a massive invitation. And with that in mind, thank you for everyone who voted in the poll. We're going to be doing the expansion contraction spread for the month of June. So this is going to be our central card as our invitation. And I've already done a pre-shuffle just like I did last week. So I'm just gonna do 3 quick shuffles, and I'm gonna split and deal, and we will see, you know, what's gonna come out. So let's do that. That's 1, 2, 3. Okay. So you guys are here with me in my lovely bedroom, but this is my special purple blanket that I usually use when I read on the floor. Didn't have it last week, so I have it this week. Sorry, don't mean to flash anybody. Okay, so with any invitation, you know, and especially one that is calling us to expand in the way that justice is, there's going to be some massive contraction, and we're going to want to shy away from what we need to do. And in that, we need allies. And first and foremost, we need to recognize when we're going into contraction. And that's why I believe this spread is so powerful. It's why I wrote it, because I want to know, like, when I'm being invited to do something, like, how can I know when I am pulling back? Like, we can't always recognize that when we're in the shit. So, and then we want to know when we're going to expansion, you know, what allies are there for us? What is that going to look like? So that is what this spread, you know, is here to illuminate. So these are our contraction cards, and these are our mind, body, spirit allies. And this is how we'll recognize when we are receptive to the invitation and going into expansion, and then, you know, what that, you know, what the outcome, the possible outcome is to look like that and to embody that. So let me flip over the cards. I like to deal them face down because then I'm not tempted to put one back. So here we go. Okay. Right. So first things first, I see about more reversals than I see upright cards. So what that instantly says to me is that, you know, there is going to be a lot more contraction to be, you know, had this month before we can truly expand. But we're going to answer the call. So here's what I see. We've already gone over the justice card. So now we need to know, like, with this invitation to get into alignment, to really open our eyes to the way that justice, you know, isn't always just for everyone in the world, and it doesn't look the same for Black and brown folks, especially Black folks, that, you know, we're opening our eyes to that. So what does contraction look like around responding to the call to, you know, change this justice system? And what we have is the Knight of Pentacles and the Nine of Pentacles. So to me, what this says is that, you know, the Pentacles are grounding energy. They're slower energy. And sometimes we might pull back into ourselves rather than going outward. You know, both of the people in these cards are by themselves. You know, the Knight is very grounded, but sometimes it can also indicate that, you know, we're a little bit stuck. Like, we may not want to move, you know, the way that we should move forward. And also, you know, the Nine of Pentacles is beautiful energy, but it's also very focused on self. You know, it's not really focused outward, it's inward. And right now is the call to really get outside of ourselves. So, you know, when we're in this Nine of Pentacles energy, we're self-tending, and that's beautiful. I wouldn't say to ignore that, but just know when you're tending to yourself that it should be right now, because it's so important. Like, how is that serving the collective? How am I, you know, tending to myself so that I can be a part of this important work that we're being called to do, rather than, you know, staying in this, like, hey, I'm here and I'm comfortable. Now's not the time to be comfortable. Like, we've been comfortable for way too long, you know, that it's crowded out, you know, and caused us to ignore the very real discomfort that some other people feel. So, you know, this is beautiful, but ultimately it's not serving us if we're not doing this in order to give back. So that's what I see as our contraction, and we need to be really mindful of that. Like, definitely take care of yourself. Self-care is very important, but also make sure that we're caring for each other. So who are our allies that can help us? And in the mental area, we have the King of Swords in reverse. So swords are a mind card, and upright, you know, we are really clear thinking, we're leading, and we're communicating our truth. So in the reverse, it's saying definitely call on the King of Swords. Like, don't ignore this, because the king, you know, embody this, but also this archetype, you know, is here to support you in your work in really getting clear about what it is that you can do, that you want to do, and that you have the ability to do. So, you know, really don't reject that invitation and that support, those allies. And if there is somebody in your life that is very King of Swords energy, now's the time to really step up and say, hey, you know, I need some support, because I really want to, you know, be active in the ways that feel right to my nervous system. Like, we don't ever want to, we want to be uncomfortable, but we don't want to be so uncomfortable that it ends up burning us out, right? So that support, if you know anybody that, you know, is the perfect embodiment of this, definitely reach out. Don't shy away from that. And then also in body, we have the Two of Pentacles in reverse. So in the upright, you know, it's a little bit of like juggling, a real need for balance. So, and I see this as movement in a way that, you know, our bodies can get some of that tension out. You know, I was reading something recently, and I know in therapy I've heard it before, like, you know, when we feel that nervous tension, that discomfort, that contractiveness, like, let your body shake. Let your body shake, breathe, move, gentle movement, exercise if you need it, like vigorous exercise if your body supports that, but, you know, in a way so that we can get into balance. That is really a call that we need to answer, and the Two of Pentacles is your ally in that. So, you know, don't ignore that either. And then in the spirit, our ally is the Lovers in reverse. So see, there's a lot of contraction happening here, and, you know, it doesn't surprise me at all, because justice is a massive invitation, just like I said. So, you know, in our spiritual sense, what's going to feed our spirit is to seek out those people, you know, who mirror back to us our power, you know, because we might feel like we don't have the power to affect change, and we all do. There's a role for everybody to play, and if you look outside of yourself and you see somebody and you're like, wow, I wish I could do that, the Lovers is saying that you can, and reach out to people who can support you in that work. I wouldn't say to lean on your Black friends, especially if you're not Black yourself, to ask them to do the emotional labor of, you know, telling you what resources that you can find. Like, seek out somebody who, you know, should be doing that work, which is, you know, fellow white people. I don't want to, you know, offend anybody, but really it is on our white brothers and sisters to be doing that work, and not asking, you know, Black folks to do that emotional labor. So, you know, if you see someone who is active, who's talking about these things, you know, seek them out. Don't reject that, because we all need to be, you know, part of it, and your fear around doing the work isn't going to really serve anybody. So, you know, it's answering that call. You know, if you see somebody who's doing something and you're impressed with what they're doing, like, it's because that is lighting the spark that lets you know, like, in me, I have the capacity to do that as well. So that is the contractive side of the spread and our allies. So it doesn't surprise me at all that in our expansion, we have the Six of Pentacles upright. We got an upright card, y'all. And this is all about being of service, serving. Like, what can you offer? What can you bring to the table? Like, y'all, I dealt these cards after the video started. This is no joke. Okay, so it's receiving help if you need it. Like, sixes are reciprocal energy, and we have the Lovers over here. That's another six. This is amazing. This is saying, like, how can you step up and be of service? Like, it's not from a place of like, I'm above anybody, or, you know, these people need my help because I'm the only one that can give it. It's from a place of like, hey, I've needed help too once in my life. And I can say that, like, I've been a giver of support and I've needed it back. So, you know, it's not from a place of like looking down on anybody. It's looking across. Even though she's standing above them and they're kneeling, I don't really like the imagery of that on this card. I think it needs to be like eye to eye. Like, hey, I'm here to offer my time. And then also, if you're on the receiving end of this card, like, you know, that I need help right now, and not being, you know, too proud to take it. I mean, I don't want to say like pride as if like ego gets in the way, but like that you're not rejecting help if it's genuine. And it's so beautiful. There's a Reiki therapist who's offering free Reiki, distance Reiki sessions to people of color. And there was a minute there where I was like, you know what? To Black people, I'm sorry. People of color and Black people are not the same thing. And I need to stop saying that. But I accepted it. At first I said, you know, I don't know, somebody else might need it more than me. But I thought about it and I was like, you know, I really need that. And I'm going to get a Reiki session later today. So I'm so excited. I will link her below in the comments. And so if there are any Black people that do need that, you know, that are watching this video, she's offering it. Her name is Nicole. But giving of her time, you know, her skills, her talents, you know, in a way that she's able to do. And then on my end, like, I'm giving of my time, but I need to receive as well. And I'm recognizing that. So that's what this invitation is saying. Like, when you're receptive and you're also giving, that you'll know, like, hey, I'm on the right track. And then also, we have the Three of Pentacles in reverse. So what that's saying is working as a team. Like, teamwork makes the dream work. It's so trite, but it's true. And we might shy away from that and think that we have to do work alone, but actually we don't. Threes are a number of expansion. Where there are three, you know, we can triple the amount of work and we can lighten our load while still making forward progress. So in the reverse, it's saying, you know, don't shy away from that. Reach out to other people, just like, you know, with the Lovers, just like King of Swords, just like Two of Pentacles, like seeking balance. So that Three of Pentacles, you know, upright is like, hey, you know, I want to reach out and collaborate and, you know, really double down on the power that I have to bring to this cause. So, you know, just keep that in mind. And then what it will look like afterwards. We have the Two of Wands in reverse. So this one is a little bit tougher for me. Like, in the upright, the Two of Wands, let me look at it. You know, she's looking out over the land, you know, and it's very, like, it's a gestational kind of energy. Like, you know, we're planning for the future. So, you know, the world really is looking and watching us and, you know, seeing what will we do. So hopefully we're answering the call. That's, you know, and I'll probably get another download about this later from my guides. Like, it's really not coming to me right now, and I'll admit that because I don't want to say something that I don't believe. But, you know, in the upright, you know, it's like, what I'm seeing is it's really going to take time to build the world that we want to live in. In the traditional Smith Rider Waite, the figure in the card is holding, you know, the world in his hands. Like, we really do have the ability to change things. Like, maybe in the reverse it feels like it's not possible, but it is if everybody does their part. So that's what I'm seeing with that. And then as well, we have another 6 card, the 6 of Swords in reverse. So this card, you know, people call it the refugee card, you know, and I've heard that before. And what I see this as is really embracing mental health treatment, you know, and not shying away from it in the reverse, like seeking support, you know, to listen, and also to talk to you know, other people. You know, there might be a little bit of resistance to really having these conversations, but you know, I see this, you know, for my white folks out there is like, you know, really being a support to each other, maybe not leaning on people of color, Black folks, non-Black POC, you know, that are doing activist work, but really calling each other in, you know, and saying, you know, talking about what you can do, and also, you know, seeking support for yourself so that you are, you know, full, that you're able to do this work because, you know, you are processing your thoughts, but you're processing together, you know, in a way that's appropriate, that's not asking, you know, folks that are already doing this work to do more emotional labor. So that's what I see with the 6 of Swords in reverse, is really just a reminder, like, that this needs to be what the focus is, you know, of processing and also listening, but speaking out too. Like, don't resist that. And our final card is beautiful. It's the Star. And that's renewal. That's hope. You know, that I'm really hopeful for the future. You know, the way that I see people talking about police violence in a way that's different than before. I mean, obviously there are people that, you know, want to do harm and want to continue to do harm and sow discord. But, you know, I've seen people really step up, you know, and it does make me hopeful for the future. So, you know, we'll be expanding, you know, when we get to a point where, you know, these conversations, and they're worldwide right now. I was just watching the news, and, you know, the protests in Germany, there's a beautiful mural of George Floyd that's in the spot where the Berlin Wall came down. Like, that, to me, it made me feel so full. Like, you know, people are talking about this, and they're really, you know, they're showing up worldwide. So, you know, to just hold on to that, hold on to hope, you know, don't get discouraged, because that will stop our growth, our expansion. And really, this can be a successful month. Like, it can, as long as we're all doing our part. So I know this video is longer than last week, but it's such an important message. And, you know, if you can share this, comment below. I really want to hear from you, you know, what you think about this, what you plan to do. And, you know, I hope that you'll share this with the people who need it. I almost forgot, I brought my Amenti Feather Heart Oracle deck up so that I could pull a crowning message and something that we can remember to carry us through this month. So let's see what we have here. Look at that. I relate in peace. So beautiful. So, you know, we're called in to just really be, you know, peaceful protesters, you know, and to speak up, speak out. And then also, like, to me, this says, like, don't be defensive. Like, it's a natural human reaction, but when you catch yourself doing that, like, if it's not coming from a place of, like, being from the heart, then you know, need to check yourself, honestly. Like, and I see that with me as well. Like, you know, I can get defensive too. Like, there are ways that as a light-skinned Black person, I've benefited from white supremacy. I've gotten out of tickets that, you know, other people, you know, have lost their lives, and, you know, it's natural to get defensive and be like, hey, you know, like, that could have been anybody, you know, and that's not true. So, you know, I'm just saying, like, when the brain comes in and says, like, that, I don't know. So what I'm trying to say is just, you know, be kind to each other, be kind to yourself, and like, comment, share. Thank you guys. I will be announcing a giveaway. We got to 250 followers. Thank you so much. And I will catch you guys next week. Bye, beautiful souls.